Good afternoon. Welcome to the Stough Canyon Nature Center. My name is John McGinley, and I work with the City of Burbank Parks and Recreation at this amazing facility at this great location, right? This is pretty hard to beat right here. I'm lucky to call this place my home here. Also, I was fortunate enough to grow up here in Burbank and take advantage of a lot of these trails when I was a kid. And these are right in our backyard, so it's something that is pretty cool to live around here and still have these Verdugo Mountains right here. Again, I would like to thank you all for coming to this event to honor Shane Proffitt. And to get things started, I'd like to bring up Vice Mayor Jess Telemontes.
Thank you, John. Good afternoon, everyone. Glad to have you here. It's a nice day. Like John mentioned, he used the trails when he was young. I've used these trails as training trails for our kids. I've got 2 Eagle Scouts that I'm very proud of because I talk about them all the time. Staff knows. They've heard it over and over. But we use these trails as training, part of our training. We put that big, 50-pound backpack on and head on up to the top, and you don't take a break till you hit the top. Anyway, I'd like to thank you for coming today and sharing this. It's a community-wide event, obviously. Let me introduce, before I go any further, some of my colleagues and some of the Parks and Rec Board members as well. My colleague right now, Council Member Emily Gabeletti. And back in the back, we have former Mayor Gary Brick. Some of the Parks, Recreation, Community Services Board members, Barry Gassau, Miki DePaulo. One of our newest appointees is Carolyn Jackson. And a former Parks Board member and a recently elected Burbank Unified School District School Board member, Arman Agajanian. The Shane Colin Proffitt Trail will bring awareness, as we all know, to the special needs community. There's surveys that say that nature will instill a well-being within not only youngsters but adults as well. So you bring them close to nature, and it just happens something inside that happens. And I believe what I've heard in the past from Mom and Dad and other members of the community, that's what happened to Shane. He grew fond of the trails, and the trails just he connected with them. He engaged with the trails. It's unfortunate that he had to leave us, when he was a senior in high school. But all those younger years, he was well connected to nature, to the City of Burbank, to the Parks, Recreation, Community Services, and all the services that we provide here in Burbank. In Burbank, we're very fortunate to be able to provide lots of programs and services to the wide range of the community. So, having done this for Shane, and kids that are in his situation as well, I think we take pride in what we do. I know the Parks Department takes pride in providing those services because we've got staff here that have been here for many years, and they just provide, not only because it's a paycheck. You're right, it's a job and you get a paycheck, but a lot of what they do comes from the heart. Comes from being connected to the community, comes from being connected to the kids. And that's what it's all about. You make a connection. And a lot of people say, well, that's their job. That's what they get paid for. That's true. I mean, you can't ignore that. But I'd say 99.9% of the staff, especially in the Parks and Recreation Department, do what they do because it comes from the heart. So once again, on behalf of the City Council, I just want to thank every one of you for taking the time out of the busy schedule and attending this very important dedication. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Also, someone who coached me when I was growing up. It was just Salamonte, so right. So thank you for that. So now I'd like to call up a person who put this together, along with a lot of help from Nancy Proffitt. So please welcome Bill Proffitt.
I feel so official behind this podium. But I just want to thank everybody for coming. I'm glad the weather cooperated. and we're not having any rain, and it's not 102 degrees. I'm glad it's 50 degrees cooler than it was last time we were here. Just a few housekeeping things. Inside, we're going to have plenty of food afterwards, so if anybody wants to join and have some more food, we'll have the food set up back inside. At the table, there's river rocks. Anybody that would like to sign a river rock, please sign a river rock. We have a rock garden out in our backyard, and we're placing them in different locations in memory of Shane. We also have buttons on the table, so if anybody would like a button, please grab a button. We have several. We have a lot of buttons. I'd like everybody to have a button. And then we're going to have a few people come up and speak. And then when we're done, we're going to unveil the plaque. The plaque is going to go on a rock that's above the trail. And I'm going to guide everybody to walk down the trail, see the tree that we had various generous donations from the Burbank Unified School District that donated the tree. And I wanted to thank everybody for coming. And I think with Shane, people always used to say to us, well, what are you going to do with Shane about this? Or how are you going to handle this with Shane? Or what are you going to do for this about Shane? And the only thing we could do for Shane is try and make the best life for him possible and try and help him out as best we could. Because the thing I've learned dealing with special needs and dealing with the community is probably the biggest misnomer that I've ever seen, or the biggest misnomer I've encountered, is people go, well, they won't understand that, so why bother with this? Why do something like this or that when they have no idea what it is and they're really not going to enjoy it or understand it? But the thing is with special needs people is they're just like you and me. They like certain things, they don't like certain things. They enjoy to do certain things. They don't enjoy to do certain things, but they can't necessarily communicate that. Sometimes they have a hindrance with their communication. Sometimes they physically can't get from point A to point B. So if you help them out to go from point A to point B or experience something, then you inevitably are going to do some good in the world, and you're going to make the world a better place. And the only thing Nancy and I can do now is try and do the best we can to continue to help people and to do things. And to see something like this today is amazing. We have KABC here. We have members of the city here. We have the Parks and Recs Board here. And, I think it's a cliche sometimes to say, oh, it's a journey or you're taking a trip or whatever. But, we never really expected this. And Nancy and I came up here last September when we lost Shane. We had no idea what we were going to do. We talked to John and the staff and we said, well, we're going to have a memorial service. And they said, okay, we've never done that before. So we said, okay, we think we're going to have 100 people. And then it was 120, and then it was 150, and we had 200 people up here, and we had an amazing day. Since then, we've collected generous donations for a fund for Shane. We've taken the BCR clients up to a Dodger game the other day. We took them. We had a bus that was we had a chartered bus, so we took them all to a game. We had a bowling party on Shane's birthday. So I think if we can continue to just help people out in the community, if you can do things like today, that's all we can do. I mean, I wish we were celebrating Shane's graduation, but we're not doing that. So instead, we have this. But, what are you going to do? You're going to stay home and, crawl under the covers or, be miserable? Or you can try and do some good and try and do some great things. So I appreciate everybody coming here. And like I said, we just want to enjoy this day. And we want to, open up the trail. And I just want to thank also the Parks and Recs Board. John Barta, who couldn't be here, was instrumental. Oh, here he is. Okay, he made it. We have a special guest appearance by John Barta. But I said to, I was up here, I said, boy, it'd be nice to have a trail named after Shane. And John spearheaded the whole thing. And the Parks and Recs Board, we appreciate them, Barry and the entire board, and everything they did to approve it. And then to go to City Council and have them approve it. It's an amazing thing. And once again, they're doing great things because this has never been done before. We've never had a ceremony like this before. There's never been, what you would say a regular citizen who just has a trail named after him. So all this is doing some amazing things and just, like I said, just trying to do some good in the world and to help some people out. And that's all we can do. So now we're going to bring up our great friend Kate Movius, who's been instrumental help and everything.
Hi, everybody. Thank you again to the board at Burbank for pushing this through, because it's a wonderful tribute to Shane. I was going to prepare something to write, and I just felt like there's really nothing one can write down and prepare, so I thought I'd just start with this, which is the crux of why I couldn't write anything. When you have a child, you think, when you're getting ready to have your baby, that you can read enough about it, you can get your what to expect when you're expecting books up to here, and you can read them, and you can figure out how to do this parenting thing, right? Then you get your kid. And if we were told when we had our babies what it would be like, the human race would die out, right? So then we're on this road, we think, okay, I've got it, and then you receive a diagnosis. And maybe you've got that diagnosis at birth, but in the case of autism, it's a diagnosis that comes kind of at you later. So for our kids, it was, 2? Yeah. And your operating instructions are out the window again. There aren't any anymore. Except I was lucky enough, right after the diagnosis, when I was basically lying in a ditch of life, metaphorically, to look up, and there was Nancy. And she was able to do something for me that night that nobody had been able to do for 9 months prior, since I'd first heard the diagnosis, which is that she made me laugh. And she made me laugh so hard I couldn't breathe. And since then, we've built on that, and I loved what the vice mayor said about connection, because one of the things that happens when you have a child with special needs is you feel isolated. You can feel very isolated, especially with autism, when it might be hard to go different places with your child. Nancy picked me up out of that feeling of isolation, and she set me straight. And I think one of the greatest things that I've learned since this journey has begun, it is cliche, but it is kind of apt, is that the best way to approach everything is just be authentic about it. Just accept your life the way it is. You can throw away all the Martha Stewart ideas of how it was going to be. Yes. And in some ways, it kind of releases you from high expectations and from perfectionism when you have a child, when you're raising a child with special needs. And what's so incredible about that are the friendships that come, and the friendships that are based not on, gee, we went to the same school and we love the same clothing and we can talk about this or that. No, this is based on experience that we're all having in a very raw and visceral way that unites us and brings us together. Which brings me to Shane, who has brought all of us here, and from so many different places, so many different kinds of people are together here, all loving Shane and continuing to love Shane, as we will. And the trail is so wonderful because everyone is going to be able to enjoy it. I love, again, what Bill said about the fact that this is kind of a new paradigm, that all of a sudden we've got this trail in the name of a child who was not famous, and yet famous to those of us who knew him, definitely. And that this is, and it really has elevated all of us to, I think, a higher level of how to be in the world. Because, as I said, there are no operating instructions for trying to navigate this loss. And Bill, Nancy, and Carly have shown us through their actions, through their kindnesses, through their authenticity, how to do it. And not only how to get through, but how to transcend it and take it to a higher level. And I'm just very grateful. I'm grateful to be in your lives. And now I have a poem I wanted to read for Shane. And it's by E.E. Cummings. It's called, I Carry Your Heart With Me. I carry it in. I carry your heart with me. I carry it in my heart. I am never without it. Anywhere I go, you go, my dear. And whatever is done by only me is your doing, my darling. I fear no fate, for you are my fate, my sweet. I want no world, for beautiful you are my world, my true. And it's you are whatever a moon has always meant, and whatever a sun will always sing, is you. Here is the deepest secret nobody knows. Here is the root of the root, and the bud of the bud, and the sky of a tree called life, which grows higher than soul can hope or mind can hide. And this is the wonder that's keeping the stars apart. I carry your heart. I carry it in my heart.
Thanks, Kate. I should have mentioned also that Kate does amazing work with Autism Speaks as a project manager. She reaches out and does an outreach program to police officers, and she speaks. Shane and I did a presentation with her at the Glendale Police Department. So she works on reaching out to our community police officers, firefighters, things like that. She was just featured on KCRW on Madeline Brand's Press Play. She did an amazing interview with a woman that also works with our police officers. People with special needs are 7 times more likely to be involved with law enforcement, and the majority of the time they have no criminal activity. And a lot of times these police officers go to a call out at 3 o'clock in the morning, and they don't know what, they have very limited information, and they see an autistic child or somebody with special needs, they don't know what to do. So I should mention Kate's doing some great work with that with Autism Speaks. And next I'm going to invite up Julie Larson. Julie is the executive director of BCR Place to Grow, where Shane had his after-school program. I've had the honor of being on the BCR Board of Trustees for at least 10 plus years. I've worked with Julie a long time. She was originally our treasurer. When our executive director retired, Julie stepped up and said she wanted to run the program, and she's done a great job, so I'll bring her up now.
Good afternoon. I'm Julie Larson, Executive Director of BCR, and I want to say good afternoon to all of our dignitaries here, most of which I've seen through our threshold up at BCR. Jess and Emily are friends who've been there often, and I welcome any of you to stop by and come say hello to us. First off, can you get that to start?
I think I can.
Anytime. I will break off. We're having issues here, but there's something I just wanted to play for you. Yes, it's very appropriate to BCR because the minute that Shane would get to BCR, we have a boatload of CDs, but he went right over to it, would pull this out, it went right in. I'm talking 205, 210. Staying Alive is blasting. And I was hoping she could get it so we could rock a little to Staying Alive. And I don't care where that CD was. We couldn't find it. And Jay kept saying, "Come on, Shane." So Jennifer tried to get it on her phone. So we got a little bit. That's good enough, Jennifer. We were staying alive every morning and every afternoon and dancing with Shane. Yes, they all did. And he knew right where it was. He went right to the CD player, put it in. I don't think it was the first one. We have a lot of CDs. I mean, I'm talking like blue CDs with nothing written on it, with 8 different songs from 12 different, artists, and he knew right where to go every day. So that was when Shane walked through the door. Maria sends her regards. She's with her sister who's having surgery, so we send her prayers. She wanted to be here and speak, but I didn't know Shane as long as Maria did. Shane came to us when he was 8 years old, I believe, and had been there till he was 17, and we loved him every single day of his life. Shane was not easy. There was lots of, trial and error. There was a team Shane. There was more than one person watching out for Shane. And Shane had many friends at BCR. And I think Kate was, or maybe it was Bill, was speaking that you don't think that they know what's going on or they don't get it. If you can experience the friendships that I see at BCR, and you don't always catch it, it's not always typical of what you would think, our automatic speak, hi, how are you, nice to see you. It come in different ways, but these clients love each other, and they're so genuine about it that it's just beautiful to watch. And Shane did have many friends, and these buttons are something that have helped his friends. I've had through the few months, Sebi comes up to me, and I had my button on, and he said, Julie, I want you to know that that's on my nightstand. And so every night he says good night and says a prayer for Shane. And Sebi was not in the teenage program. He was older than Shane, but he still knew Shane, and it was just beautiful. Anthony Akel is another very close friend of Shane's. And Shane is spoken about often in the halls of BCR. So, and Anthony Akel is one of them also, and Sebi and Anthony and Jesus. Jesus loved Shane. So Shane had many wonderful friends at BCR, and of course all the staff adored Shane. So we miss him every day. I do want to speak to the city. You mentioned how the Park and Recreation, yes, they know our clients, and not just here. There's a saying from another nonprofit organization in town that's near and dear to my heart, also Family Service Agency, and they have a saying that says, imagine a city. Imagine a city that has a bus that comes and picks us up and brings us straight up here. All I have to do is call. Imagine a city that takes care of their clients, and for, I think it's been 44 years, we work together, and they allow us to have a room or up at McCambridge Park. And I know there's line dancing classes that happen, and every time we start our season of dances, the line dancing people show up and they go, oh, right, at the church, right? Because they move that line dancing class for us and allow us to have our monthly dances where this whole population comes. And if you ever want to spend an amazing Friday night, I can't tell you, it is the best way to spend a Friday night. Second Friday of every month, come on up to McCambridge. You will be thrilled to be there. And Shane did love coming to the dances. It is. They do. So I just want to thank you for allowing us to be in a city that is so wonderful and does take care of the whole population. And I think Burbank is a shining star when it comes to that, and I really hope other cities take advantage of what they can do here. So I just wanted to come and share our love for Shane and, of course, our love for Bill and Nancy. When I met Bill, I didn't know I would be in this position, but here I am. And I'm thrilled to be here, and I'm thrilled to see all your smiling faces. And we will be doing many things. We just, like he said, we just went to the Dodger game, and we were Team Shane, and the Dodgers won. I do think it was their last run. I think we saw their last run. They haven't, I know, it was Shane. It was only one, but they won 1-0. And also, Bill and Nancy are very involved in every year we go to Carpinteria. And it's not a small trip. We get Metro tickets, or I'm sorry, Amtrak tickets. We schlep them over to the airport. They get on the train early in the morning. We ride the train to Carpinteria. We rent those tables, and you know where everybody knows where a spot is. So if you just pass the spot and make a right, there's these beautiful bathrooms, lovely shaded picnic benches, and we take our lunch and we eat our lunch, and then we go over the dunes and we swim and play and have a blast at the beach. And then we all sandy get back to the wonderful bathrooms, and they shower and they get all dressed. Hi, Eric knows. And then we walk on back right to the train right there in Carpinteria, pass the spot again and get on the train and come home. And that was also one of Shane's favorite things besides the baseball game. So we will do that again in honor of Shane. And you're all invited. So if you want to come to the beach with us, just ask Bill and Nancy. They'll know when we're coming. You're all welcome. So from the bottom of BCR's heart, we love the Proffitt family, and we know we have an angel looking over us. Thank you.
Thanks, Julie. We're definitely very lucky to have BCR in a place like Burbank. The city is very supportive, and if you do want to come to the dances, they're great. They're the second Friday, like Julie said, of every month except for July and August. We have Valentine's dance, St. Patrick's Day dance, different themed dances. They usually dance, then there's a break, there's food and snacks, and volunteers help out. Then we do a second half, we do more dancing, and then the best part is we end the evening by doing the chicken dance, which is just epic. It's a great dance. Yeah, Shane loved the music, definitely late 70s, some disco stuff. He discovered Nancy's old turntable, and we started playing albums for him. He liked Whitney Houston's debut album, Michael Jackson's Thriller, and Eagles' Greatest Hits Volume 2. But despite numerous efforts, I could not get him into the Beatles. I would put a Beatle album on, and if he was sitting on the couch and you had a Beatle album on, and you went into our kitchen, you knew he didn't like the record because it was like the rap DJ. So you'd hear the screech of the album, and it'd be yanked off the turntable and just kind of tossed. So you know that was a reject. Maybe he should have been a DJ. But next up, we're going to bring up our family friend, Peter Hopkins. He has a special gift for the Nature Center.
The last time we were here, most of us were here, was in September, remembering Shane. And after the service, beautiful service, was over, I saw Bill. And I thought, what am I going to say to Bill after this emotional, meaningful service? Luckily, Bill broke the ice and said to me, it doesn't matter what city official I have to bribe or cajole into getting a trail dedicated, so I hope, Vice Mayor and city officials, that didn't come to pass. But clearly the result is the same. I watched the vote that night on television, called Nancy immediately afterward, and I know, City Council, you have challenging votes at times, and I'm glad that one was an obvious one, and brought great joy to the family, I can tell you firsthand. The Nature Center and the trails around here, you look around and you don't have to guess. It's quite obvious as to why Nancy and Shane found peace up here. Peace from judgment and perhaps funny looks in the outside world. There is no judging up here. It is nature as God intended. So when Nancy said they were going to dedicate a trail up here, I just thought that's the most obvious choice. And for those of you who aren't familiar with how the Nature Center works, there's a free program where you can hike the trails, and if you need a walking stick, you can sign out the walking sticks inside here, the front door. Right, John? Is that where they are? It was John's idea. So I did a little research, and Leslie and I got a walking stick in Shane's memory, and his initials are here engraved on the stick. And this will live here in the Nature Center, and it's our hope that whoever carries the stick on the trail will carry Shane's spirit and part of Shane. So with that, Bill and Nancy, I give you this stick. Carry on.
So beautiful. It's so
Full
beautiful.
history of what it's made of, so all natural materials.
I'm going to be the first one using this. It's absolutely beautiful. Very simple.
So I'll
Thank you
just
so
quickly
much.
close. Earlier this afternoon, somebody asked me, well, what are your plans for the weekend? And I said, well, we're going to go to the beach on Sunday. And I know the beach was one of Shane's favorite places, perhaps equal to the Nature Center and the trails. So my family's going to go to the beach, and we'll do so in Shane's memory. So thank you.
Well, thanks, Peter, and thanks, Leslie, and I'm glad this will get a lot of use. I think we'll unveil the plaque, and then I'll break this in by taking everybody down to the trail.
You have to sign it out. They know who he is.
You ready?
Nancy, Jess, you want to help out too?
You want to come up, Shane? Eric, wait, come up.
Want to help him unveil, I guess.
Why don't you stand over here, Mom? Do we need like a drum roll or?
We have a drummer here, so this one.
We do have a view.
Are you ready?
Yeah, you want? John, why don't you come up too? You guys want to come up? Or? I want to begin.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. And Shane's godmother was responsible for most of my wonderful friend Annie McGruddy is responsible for most of this wording and the beautiful quote at the bottom. Yay! Nature will never fail you. That's exactly right. Oh, it's beautiful.
Well, should we head to the trail? Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
The rock here is where the plaque's going to be.
Come on, let's go. Let's all go. Okay, everybody watch their step.
Thank you. Today was not a big whatever. Grab the staff.
I don't do this kind of stuff.
Is this the tree?
Yeah, this is the tree.
And what kind of tree is it?
California live oak.
Oh, nice. Oh, look at the butterfly. Oh my gosh, that was a real for a second. I was like, oh my gosh. Sweet.
Yeah, and they laminated the program.
So that it's like that. Oh, they laminated the print.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I like the one of you guys in the PJs. Your father-son PJs. Was RJ scared to come down? Girls, make room. Come over on this side so you can make room for the other people to come in.
You made it. You did.
Because they're going to interview me. When Shane's like,
All right, you got it?
Oh, very cool. Okay, why don't we just keep walking a little bit past?
Yeah.
Because you got a big crowd and we can go right on by.
excuse me.
Hi, John. So nice. Okay, Eric, keep calling Jesus. Did you say hi to Bill, Jesus?
Hi.
Hi, Bill.
Hi. You ready?
Keep walking, guys.
Hi. Good. How are you?
Jumping. Okay, keep going. We got a big crowd, so Joellen, go ahead. Let me leave this one.
Right here.
Oh, go ahead, Mark.
We're gonna keep him.
Be careful.
Yeah, this is a tree the school donated.
Lovely.
What school?
The bench was there before. Yeah, the Rotary donated it. So we just planted the tree here. Okay. Talk to you later.
Do they know where they're going?
Oh, thank you.
Does it go out that way?
Yeah, it goes up to the...
Right now. I'm sorry. I'm not looking.
So I just wanted to put that in your little.
Give my best to Maria.
I will.
And when she gets back, we'll talk about the train trip.
Okay. Will do.
Because it's coming up.
Yes, I know.
Well, bye, guys.
Do we have everybody?
All the time.
Okay. So, this is a tree that the Burbank Unified School District very generously donated that we had planted here. And Brian, that works for the Nature Center, very kindly laminated our program and hung this from the tree. And when we planted it, we put a little piece of Shane here. So he's always here. And that's it, that's our tree. So we can head back up for some food.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah. So the trail is always open. So anybody that wants to come, we were lucky to have a Rotary bench that the Rotary Club donated sitting here already. So there's always a spot to come here and walk this official trail now and remember Shane.
That's right. That's what we did.
Straight ahead?
We're going straight?
Yeah, go straight up to the parking lot.